Hello everyone. Welcome to Woolen Spinning. My name is Rachel. This is episode 316 of the Woolen Spinning podcast. I can't believe that we are at 300 and something. It's just mind-boggling to me. Welcome to this place. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for continuing to join the conversation about hand spun yarn and using our hand spun and doing all the hand spun things, making fabrics and all that kind of stuff. It's wonderful to see everybody here in the chat today. Thank you for being here. We had such a fun day yesterday. It was the Woolen Spinning Patreon anniversary. So it's sort of the birthday party for Patreon. I started Patreon 9 years ago yesterday, and the chat and our community members had come up with this plan to have a big birthday party for run-up birthday party, because next year, 2026, is the 10-year anniversary, the 10-year birthday party. It's crazy. Anyways, we had a 12-hour Zoom party yesterday. We had lots and lots of giveaways, and thank you to everybody that came. It was really a lot of fun. You far exceeded my expectations in terms of like how many came and participated, and people stayed all day. It was really incredible. So thank you. I am exhausted. Stuff like that takes a lot of energy from me, but we have a quiet day today. James has gone to the zoo with a really good friend. Nora is drawing and doing her artwork and whatnot in the other room, and she's just having some quiet time. I was supposed to go to the gym this morning, but it actually got canceled, which I think was sort of a blessing in disguise, because it was just one more thing to try to put on my plate for today. And we've got tickets tonight for the Canadian men playing Honduras for soccer. So we've got kind of a fun evening to look forward to. So it's been kind of a jam-packed few days, and yeah, just really fun. Yes, Eve, you fell asleep. We were yelling at you. We were like, Eve, wake up, Eve. But you didn't wake up. It was like 3 a.m, so I don't blame you for falling asleep. It was pretty funny. So thank you to everybody who pitched in. Thank you to everybody who helped and was there. And I was going to jump into the spin group this morning and say hello and thank you to everybody. But honestly, I just didn't get a chance because summer vacation. That means the kids are here and they're not in school like normal. And it's just everything is like off kilter. So yeah. What a fun day that we had yesterday. So thank you to everyone. It was really neat too, because we got into a couple of conversations that, because we had a lot of time, we were able to kind of just delve into it and just take our time. No, you weren't snoring, Eve. You were muted. And we were just like, just enjoying the moment and enjoying each other's company and just enjoying being there. It was really fun. I encourage you all to come next time. It was really neat. We'll do another one next year, apparently. I don't know if I want to do 24 hours. We had talked about the 10-year anniversary doing 24 hours on Zoom. You can do up to 30 hours on Zoom. I don't know. It was really fun to be able to be there for the whole time. I think we'd probably do 12 hours again, but we maybe would shift it so it was like 10 to 10 instead of 9 to 9 Pacific, so that we could catch more of Australia, because quite a few people from Australia were able to come. And then the other idea that I had was maybe to shift to a weekend. So next year, June 16th falls on a Tuesday. So it's like right in the middle of the week. Even Monday was like a bit dicey, and I know people were around and they were trying to fit it in around their work schedule and stuff, but I think we might shift it to like Saturday the 13th or the following Saturday, the 20th or the 21st, and do it on a Saturday. Mike and I were chatting about it last night after we said goodbye. And I went up to bed. He was already in bed and reading, and the kids were in bed and they were kind of waiting for me. And I said to him, it'd be really fun to do a weekend, only because then more people could come, because I know work gets in the way, especially when there's time zones. So anyhow, let me know. And special shout out to Diane, Ellen, and Dion, and Wheezy, because you guys were there all day with me. And Glenda got pretty close to being there all day. Eve got pretty close. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out with me. It was super, super fun. All right. Onwards and upwards. Woolen Spinning Radio. We've got housekeeping. We've got Tour de Fleece information. We've got lots of stuff going on. So let's start off with housekeeping. And actually, let's run the credits first so that I know that it's done. And then we'll kind of get into all the things because we've got quite a few things. They're just like general housekeeping things that I just need to cover that I couldn't fit all into the housekeeping video. So, and it's good stuff. It's really, really like good stuff. So let's have a look. Yeah. I think, Christine, you're in the same boat as I am. She said, if it's a weekend, can we decide on a date sooner rather than later so she can book off the weekend off work? My work schedule is like that. I have to take vacation like a year in advance and I need to know. So the only thing about it being the 13th of June next year is I know it's a whole year in advance, but for those of us who do shift work and whatnot, like this is very real. We plan our vacations a year in advance. It's kind of not fair, but I also get why they do it. So June of next year, the 13th, the kids often have a soccer tournament that weekend. However, it could be the weekend of the 20th next year because that is also a soccer weekend. So I'm actually wondering if we should push it to the 27th because then for sure, 90% of the soccer will be done. So let's tentatively plan, Christine, so that you can like organize your life because I totally get it as a shift worker. I am so sympathetic. June 27th, and we'll just push it past the 16th. I wanted to do the 16th because that was like the true 10-year, but it's a Tuesday and it's tricky. So we could run it from like 6 in the morning till like midnight Pacific. So we could do something like that. Because what would be kind of cool is if it went late enough at night, people could go to bed and get back up and like be there. Like Amanda jumped back in last night at 6:30 a.m. her time, but only Eve was there. And of course I was muted because I had left because a few people wanted to hang out, especially those in Australia. Like for them, it was only like mid-afternoon. So yeah, we need to try to figure out how we're going to do that. All right. Housekeeping. We've got a few things to chat about. We've got Tour de Fleece starting very, very soon. So we're going to chat today about prepping for Tour de Fleece. There are a lot of people in our community that are brand new to spinning, or this is their first tour, or they've only been spinning for a year or two. So we're going to chat today quite a lot about how to prepare for Tour de Fleece, some just sort of tips and tricks, some easy ways to get ready. And I will share what I am prepping for Tour de Fleece with you while we're talking. Tour de Fleece and Tour de Fleece Femmes, for those who don't know, is an event, is a hand spinning event that goes alongside Tour de Fleece. So there's different teams that you can join. Melly Knits, my friend Melissa, does a big one called Stash Dashers. And they, there's like lots and lots of different teams. There's teams for people who've never done it before. There's teams that are like the official teams. There's wildcard teams, which is what we are. So we're sort of affiliate. We're not like an official Tour de Fleece team on the Ravelry group that like runs Tour de Fleece. You don't have to be on Ravelry to participate. Our stuff is off of Ravelry. It's in the Slack channel as well as a thread on Ravelry. So there's sort of a place for everybody in both places. Yeah, it's just a really fun event, and it's basically a month and a bit of like spinning. Tour de Fleece is followed by Tour de Fleece Femmes, which is the women's Tour de France. So we start spinning the day that they start cycling for Tour de France, and then we sort of spin right through them, cycling all the way through the month of July and then into August for Tour de France Femmes and for Tour de Fleece Femmes. There are rest days. So what some people do is they map out their like event ahead of time, and they kind of map out like which days the cyclists are resting, and those are the days that they rest. Some people try to spin all day every day. Some people try to get a certain project done. Some people there's challenge days in the race where there's like certain days where they're like hill climbing, or there's certain things happening, and they try to do a challenge spin on that day. So there's all sorts of things with Tour de Fleece for those who haven't done it before, to just keep keep your radar out and just listen for all these different things that people have. We're pretty chill. The woolen spinning team is very chill. There's a thread on Ravelry for those who are not part of the Patreon community yet. And for those who are part of the Patreon community, jump into the Slack channel. It is hashtagged, what is the hashtag? I just changed it and updated it for 2025. The channel is hashtag Tour de Fleece. Hang on. Hashtag Tour de Fleece. And I need to simplify it. And Tour de Fleece Femmes 2025. And Amanda had actually suggested dropping the year, which I thought was actually a really good idea. But then I left the year for this year. I think because I was doing it on the fly and I just like fixed it and like fixed the year. And then I thought afterwards, oh, she had a really good idea of just dropping the year. So I'll go back in and do that. So thanks, Amanda, for thinking of that. So if you're on the Slack channel, jump in there and start sharing what you're prepping and what you're working on, especially after today's episode. I want to know what you guys are working on to get going on that. So let's do housekeeping, and I will meet you guys on the other side with, and Woolen Spinning Radio is Debbie held this month talking about blending boards. So highly recommend checking out that episode. I chatted about that in our June 3rd episode, last episode 315. She shared some, what it was like, writing her book and the process and how in love she is with blending boards. She shared some very personal things about her life and what's brought her to the point that she is now. I really appreciate Debbie. I consider her a really dear friend. And even though we don't chat all the time, whenever we do, we just pick up where we left off. It's one of those friendships. And I really appreciated her coming on the show. We chatted about her coming back on Woolen Spinning Radio and sharing some more about some of her like tips and techniques and things that she thinks about when she's spinning Rolags and creating Rolags and all the different things. So if you guys have any specific questions for Debbie, can you please reply and comment on that Patreon post? And I will file them away for me and Rebecca to ask her next time, because that would be really fun to have her back on and have a really good excuse to have her back on. Because she was a pleasure to interview, and it's a pleasure to have her. Okay, let's do the housekeeping post, and then we'll chat about all things Tour de Fleece.
Watch for the Patreon post this month on spinning luxury and dyeing fibers. The Wool Circle is hosted by Rebecca on the Wet Tuesdays opposite of the live stream. Look for the 7-day free trial on Patreon to see if you like the show. I think you'll really enjoy it. Ketchup Pickles is the housekeeping post that has all of the links to everything you're looking for on Patreon. Our community groups happen throughout the week. Make note of which ones work for you, and the Zoom links are posted in the Slack channel. Maker Morning is posted on Patreon for those who are not part of the Slack channel, and all are welcome. Onboarding calls are for new and newish members. The post will go up on Patreon the night before. It's that time of year again. We've got our spin-alongs coming up for the summer season in the Northern Hemisphere and the winter season in the Southern Hemisphere. Links below.
Eve, your questions sometimes, you are hilarious. Are you supposed to sound like you're underwater? It sounds normal on my end, so let me know if it doesn't sound normal on your end. Rebecca said, I know we said no book study for next year, but I want to spend time with Debbie's book. I think that would be wonderful. And actually, for those who are embarking on Spindle Spun season, that would be a really great book for you guys to like sort of study together. You can use the hashtag Spindle Spun season channel in Slack and sort of use that as like a book study discussion kind of thing. One of the Rolex like projects that Debbie has did in the book was like with feathers. So like just so many cool things to do. Okay, thanks you guys. So there is a bit of a reverberation. Maybe it's coming through the mic as well as playing. Oh, you know what? I bet that is. I bet you that's what it was. Thank you. Yeah, Rebecca said there's an echo. It's because I left my mic on. So thank you so much, you guys. I'll have to turn the mic off when the housekeeping video goes. I'll try to remember that. Yeah, thanks, you guys. Very helpful. See, I need to know this stuff because I can't hear it at my end. I can hear some of it, but I can't hear stuff like reverb. So that's really helpful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Preparing for Tour de Fleece in 5 easy steps. Let's do it. We're going to do that next. Diane said the voiceover sounds a bit dreamy. That's hilarious. Dion actually likes how it sounds. You guys are so funny. Oh, Amanda, she's got the blending board and she's got Debbie's book. She's in. That's amazing. All right. For those who've never participated in Tour de Fleece and Tour de Fleece Femmes, what is really fun about this event is if you are on social media and you are a social media person and you're on Instagram as in particular, the Instagram just gets like taken over by bobbin shots. Like it is bobbin shots galore. So look for the hashtag Tour de Fleece, Tour de Fleece 2025, Tour de Fleece Femmes 2025 once Tour de Fleece is over and it goes into Tour de Fleece. Or into Tour de Fleece Femmes. It is just a really fun event. And what I really miss about events like Spinzilla, when they used to be a thing years ago, was just getting together, spinning a ton, and all of the bobbin shots and all of the photos of all of this hand spun yarn. Like it's really an opportunity to like celebrate hand spun yarn. That's really what it is. It is really, really fun. So I've got 5 tips and tricks for you guys today. We're going to do a little bit of chatter while I'm showing you stuff as we're talking through this. I'm going to do a little bit of reading. We're going to kind of be all over the place today a little bit. If this is your first Tour de Fleece, we usually, the last couple of years I have felt like my home life has been a little bit chaotic, quite chaotic. And for me, Tour de Fleece has kind of just happened in the background. And one of the things I'm really looking forward to this year is really hopefully actually intentionally spinning and actually like participating intentionally this year. So I thought if I talk about it on the podcast and we all get ready together and I've got all my projects prepped and ready to go, there's no excuse. One of the things that you can do if you are on Ravelry, if you are on places like Facebook and Instagram, is to grab this thumbnail that's just below me here that says Woolen Spinning Tour de Fleece Femmes, and steal that for your avatar. So you can use that for your avatar on like Instagram, Facebook, your Ravatar if you're on Ravelry. The thing by doing that, it not just sort of shows that you're a part of Team Woolen Spinning, it also helps to get the word out that about woolen spinning. It's actually really helpful to just like share and to talk about woolen spinning, talk about the podcast, talk about Patreon. It really helps to get get the show out there and get people chatting about hand spun yarn and using it in fabric and fostering peer-to-peer learning and all the things that we do here. So thank you to those who've already done that. Okay, so time. Time is a big thing with Tour de Fleece. And I think what I have done in the past that has not been particularly helpful is I set myself up for a wee bit of failure and I have all these expectations about how much I think that I'm going to be able to get done. And then I get into, the first day or two, I'm all fired up, we're all ready to go, we're having a great time. And then I realize that I'm really not going to get as much time at my wheels or on my spindles as I think that I am. So set realistic expectations for how long you think you will be able to devote to a daily or weekly spinning. Set some reminders on your phone or watch to help. Or your watch, because I know a lot of people set reminders on their smartwatches now to help you stay accountable when things come up. So like housekeeping, dishes, plans, family obligations, kids being around in the summer. For me, I do a lot of driving, so that takes up a lot of my time, care, and attention. So track your time that you actually spend spinning. To fuel that sense of accomplishment, to sort of help you to recognize, oh, I actually am getting things done. And sometimes just 15 minutes in bed before you go to sleep at night is actually, you can amass a huge amount of yarn. I know my friend Diana often will do that. And her 15 minutes a day spindle practice has amassed an unbelievable amount of yarn over the years. It's really incredible how much she gets done. And support spindles, suspended spindles, they travel with you. Bring them with you and get in the habit of taking them with you. Number 2 is your project. So we're going to go on a little bit of a detour here, and I'm going to show you what I'm prepping for Tour de Fleece. Probably the most important of all of the steps is choosing your project or multiple projects. This is incredibly important. Going into the tour with some sort of a plan is really helpful as the weeks go on. What I often find is at the beginning of the tour, I sort of have a rough idea of what I want to do. I've done this in the past. And then I get sort of a couple of weeks in and I've finished what I wanted to do. And now I'm at a loss and don't know and don't really have anything ready to go. So remember that you will be spinning for multiple weeks. So you're going to be spinning for most of the summer or the winter if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. And you're working on something that you want to accomplish. It gives you not only a sense of completion, but it also gives you that focus, especially for those of us who struggle with larger spins and getting them done. This is your opportunity to get something really big done. The momentum of the tour really helps to keep us motivated, along with the Zoom groups, and watch for those in the #general channel of Slack for all the links to the community Zoom groups, because sometimes there's extra ones during Tour de Fleece. Somebody will pop on and say, hey, I'm going to be spinning for a while. Anybody who's around can join me. So watch for those Zoom links and people inviting one another into Zoom. This really helps to get things done, and think about what you'd like to accomplish and then get working towards that goal. And I know a lot of people as newer spinners, we were actually talking about this yesterday in the birthday party. For a lot of new spinners, the overarching goal and the big thing that they hope to accomplish is a #sweater spin. And it's often like the thing that a lot of hand spinners want to work towards and want to accomplish, right? And the cool thing about that is that this is a great opportunity to get through that pound of wool or that 2 pounds of wool that you've sort of been, that's how much it's going to take to get to that sweater spin, whether it's a 2-ply or a 3-ply or a 4-ply, whatever you want to do. This is the time when everybody's spinning and everybody's working on stuff together to get through it. Yeah, that's a great idea, Rebecca. Yeah, we could definitely talk about that. I will file that away. That's a great idea. I like that, Amanda. She said, my goal will be the same as last year, to spin every day. It seems just challenging enough. I find that too. I go for days sometimes and I don't sit down at my wheel. And I do find that when I have it in front of me in my bullet journal as something that I want to accomplish for that day, I often do get to it. So I find writing it down really helps me. I don't necessarily use like reminders and stuff on my phone, and I don't have a smartwatch, but I do find writing it in my bullet journal and having that opportunity to go tick makes a big difference. Eliane says, my goal is to spin a lot, simply because spinning calms me down. It gives me resting around 45 to 50 minutes. It gives me a resting heart rate. Oh, interesting. Around 45 to 50 per minute. I remember you talking about that, Eliane, that you were looking at your heart rate and that it would come down when you started to spin. That's so interesting. Anybody with a data tracker, something that they wear, a wearable, pay attention to your heart rate and see if it comes down when you start to spin or weave or do anything that you find really relaxing. Rebecca said, I always keep my Tour de Fleece goals so low since I'm always traveling, 1 roll leg a day on my support spindles. That's a fair amount of spinning though. And I know last year, Rebecca was working on her Kiviot blending project, and holy smokes, did she spin a lot. Like, your spindles were chock-a-block full. So cool. Christine says, I just want to, quote, do spinning. I love that. But I've pivoted and have ordered some Tour de Fleece fiber from Hilltop Cloud, but the option that I thought was more manageable. That's awesome. Great idea. Dana says, I really enjoy watching the race, and adding the spinning is pure joy. I'm really looking forward to it this year. I've actually never watched Tour de France more than like a few minutes here and there. And I was kind of hoping this year that with the kids being home and us having like a bit of a quieter start to the summer, I hope it stays that way, that I actually could watch a little bit of it. I thought that would be really fun. Oh, that's true, Rebecca. You were kind of loading up your spindles for 4 months because they were on sabbatical last year, so they were traveling for 4 full months. That's actually true. I'm sorry, I'd kind of forgotten. Dion says, spinning is so good for your heart. You are so incredibly right. Okay, Fibre Choice. This is where we're going to deviate a little bit. Begin to think about what you would like to spend your time spinning and fostering joy in that journey. So depending on how much time you think you might be able to spend on spinning throughout the month, you might want to take on a larger spin. With less time, something luxurious or challenging might be more appropriate. With fewer quote unquote spoons, as Rebecca would say, maybe something mindless would be best. And when we talk about spoons, it's a reference to mental health language and that was developed around, like, if you have spoons and you have the resources, like maybe you only have enough spoons to have a shower today, or maybe you have enough spoons to have a shower and maybe make a couple of meals. And so when we talk about spoons, we're talking about it in the context of how much energy do you have, how many resources do you have, and what would be a realistic expectation or goal for you to accomplish today, and how many spoons would that require. So maybe spinning for 15 minutes a day requires 1 spoon, but maybe spinning for a larger spin and getting out your wheel, prepping the fiber, spinning 300 grams over the course of Tour de Fleece sort of feels like 4 to 5 spoons, and that just feels like too much. Then let's scale it back a bit and see what might be more realistic. That's where that comes from. And there's a knife theory and a fork theory as well. But the spoons one is something we've been talking about a lot in our community, and it's actually been very helpful. So I'm going to go back to the big camera for a second. So we're going to deviate for a second with Fibre Choice for just a sec, because I wanted to share with you, I've been clearing off all of my bobbins to get ready for Tour de Fleece. That's a big one. We're going to talk about that in tools in just a moment. But I have been prepping my Jacob, and the Jacob, I think I showed this last time on the show, but these are the Jacob locks. So there were 3 colors in the no, it wasn't a pound. Was it a full pound? I have it written down how much it was. I think it was a pound. I've ended up post-processing with about 360. I wrote it down. It's right here. Why am I guessing? It's right here. Yeah, 310 grams. So there were locks that were the true dark, because Jacob sheep are patchy. They have they can have 2 or 3, sometimes 4 different colors on them, and they have like literally like patches. They're polled, they have horns, sometimes they have multiple horns. So this one that I have is from Cold Valley Farms in Wisconsin. I got it from my friend Sherry Stewart at Coneagus Textiles here locally to me. So there were these beautiful black locks, and they're like this beautiful chestnut, dark brown. And then there were these locks that were where the patches on the Jacob kind of all meet. So there's a little bit of black in there. There's a little bit of brown, which the camera's not really picking up because it's sort of too close to the black. And then there was the white. So it all kind of mixed together. So these ones I separated, these ones that were like what I was calling mixed locks, I separated those. So I had 3 piles going. Here's a couple other ones because they were just so much fun. I wanted to keep a few of them for examples. See how it's right on the edge of where the patches would have been, and there's like a little bit of white, and you could separate it, and you could cleanly pull them apart, but they're so pretty. So I created a separate pile for these ones that were all kind of mixed gray, a little bit of white in them, a little bit of black, that kind of thing. And here's another one here. And then one that was like this, I threw in the white pile. So, and then there were white locks. So these ones that were like this, they went in the white, and then I had a pile of gray, and then I had a pile of black. So I have been sitting in the evening. We have been playing Sunderfolk. We are almost done. We cannot beat the final boss. We've tried like 3 times and we can't do it. Which it's like so unbelievably hard. So we're like almost done the game. For those who don't know what Sunderfolk is, it's a video game. It's for groups. You can play up to, I think you can play 6 players, but we play 4. It's just really fun. It's sort of Dungeons and Dragons-esque, but you all have your own device, and then it's all on the TV. It's very well done, very clever. Rebecca, highly recommend. You could play with Diana, and Martha and Naomi would be able to play with their own devices, and then like you and Jared, Diana could go back and forth between the 2 of you, or you could help her. Like, such a great family game. Anyhow, So while we've been playing, there's gaps between your turn, right? Because everybody else has to go. And so you're all paying attention because it's collaborative. But I've been sitting there and lock popping these. So, and I have lots and lots of photos to show you guys. But what I've been doing is just sitting in the evenings and lock popping. And then I've also been working on my CVM fleece and lock popping that, which is actually in the other room. I didn't even bother to bring it to show you guys because it's not that interesting. And I talked about it quite a bit a couple weeks ago. So that is the big spin, the fiber that I'm working with and what I've chosen. And we'll chat about it a little bit more in a few more minutes. Oh, Dion, you're going to have to get weaving bobbins. She said I ran out of weaving bobbins. I have several spinning bobbins to clear off. Oh, no. You could, can you get plying? I'm gonna have to do something. What about, you don't have a bobbin rack, do you? You don't have one of these where you have like 48 bobbins? You're a weaver now. You need to think about these things, Dion. Okay, tools. During the tour, I often plan big spinning wheel spins because I am hoping to spin a lot of yardage. That's what I usually work towards. It's the time of the year that I try to get a lot of like volume done. I try to get a couple of fleeces out of my stash if I can. The last couple of years that has not happened and that has not been the case, but in contrast, Rebecca is always traveling through the tour and she often plans projects that she can spin on her spindles. So she's been making Rolex today for traveling. Depending on the fibers that you've chosen and what you hope to accomplish, choose the tools that you think will serve you best. If you choose a big wheel spin, ensure you have bobbins freed up, the wheel is oiled, drive bands are in good condition, brake bands are replaced if you need to replace your brake bands. Sometimes we don't get to replacing them during the year, and this is a great opportunity while you're getting ready. And other parts of the wheel are all in good condition. Recently on my Magicraft Suzy Pro, I had an issue with one of my treadles and I'd taken it all apart. And then when I put it all back together, it didn't treadle correctly. Like it just didn't feel right. And I was getting a lot of backspin, and it was because there was like a couple of millimeters off on the two polyurethane tubes that go at the back of the wheel between the treadle and the words, Rachel, what are they called? The things that move the drive wheel. And I fiddled with it and I tried to fix it, and Mike got in there and we tried to fix it so that we made sure that it was long enough for when it was fully extended to help the drive wheel go around. Didn't matter what I was doing. It just like was continuing to backspin, and it got a little bit better, and then it got a little bit better, and it's fine now. And it just sort of needed to like ease in and kind of stretch a little tiny bit and just ease into the spot that it needed to be. And now it's treadling perfectly again. But I wouldn't have wanted to be dealing with that during the tour. I would have wanted that fixed and like dealt with before the tour started, because let me tell you, taking your wheel apart when you are in the flow and you're working on something and you're excited about it, it's the worst. So try and get this stuff dealt with ahead of time. What else? The worst is having these things conk out on you halfway through your project. And that's kind of what happened to me. It just was like really poor timing. Spindles can be chosen ahead of time along with bowls and spoons to ensure you have everything collected. Store them in an easy to access place so that it won't deter you from getting them out. Sometimes that can feel really overwhelming when you're like, oh, I need another spindle. My spindle's full. Oh, I've got my Rolex, but I put them away. Like, keep everything out. This is not the time to clean up and put things away. Keep everything out, especially if you only have a small precious time window. You know, that small precious time. You know, if it's the 15 minutes before you go to bed, the last thing you want to do is go and try to start pulling things out. So leave them out. I use bins. I tend to use big Tupperware bins that are sort of about like yay big. They're not massive, but they're, you know, they're a fair size, and they can hold everything in one fell swoop. I've got one right now that's packed with all my cotton stuff for all the cotton stuff that I've been working on. And I've got another one that's got all my fleece in it right now for my Corriedale fleece that I'm slowly processing in the background. And I just try to keep this stuff close by. So let's talk about bobbin clearing really quickly. I have cleared a ton of bobbins. So That's actually, we're going to spend a few minutes talking about this. So let me share with you a little bit of what I've been working on. So this is the photo of all the yarn that I have plied in the last week. These are all of my bobbins that I have cleared off all here. I took a photo. I had them all laying on the desk and I was like, click. So let's chat about it for a minute. So I also have a really fun swatch to share with you. So we'll do that toward the end here. But what I've been doing is, and maybe we should go to the big camera for this. These are all of the yarns that I have plied in the last week. And actually the photo didn't even include this one here. So one of the things that I had done for Melissa lately was she had another one of her speed dates that she wanted me to do. So this is another speed date. This one was with Romney, LW. And let me just get my notes out while I tell you about her. Him. I think it's a her though. I think it was a you. Okay, so what I said about the original Romney skein here, and I'll take these apart just so I can chat about them with you guys. And I haven't taken a bunch of photos yet, so I don't have a bunch of photos to show you, but it was just beautiful to spin. Typical long wool, you've got a little bit of a halo. This Romney was insane. It was absolutely beautiful. This came from Nighthawk Ranch here in British Columbia. It is so perfectly white. Like you see this in real life and like it is perfect white. This is a South African that I also cleared the bobbins with this past week. It was just a center pull 2-ply. They were singles that were left on my bobbin after some sampling that I had done and some playing around. And I had left them on the bobbin. They've been languishing for probably 2 or 3 years. And I created a center pull ball and I just plied them off. And it is an absolutely perfect white as well. Like it would take the dye just beautifully. And these are different wools, they look different. They don't look the same. They don't feel the same. This is much finer. It's crimpier. It's bouncier. It's got good bulk. This has actually got fairly good bulk. I have to say, if you squeeze on it, like look at that, it pops right back. It's bold. It's really beautiful. It's got gorgeous drape. It probably could have used a little tiny bit more twist, but I was kind of playing around and sampling and seeing how I wanted to spin it because it was the first one. So this one was on its own. And then I spun it with Gamora. So Gamora was a Romney. I have to find her. And of all of them, this is my least favorite, right? Yeah, it was my least favorite. So this is from Ironwater Ranch in Oregon. Creates this beautiful heathered yarn. So basically what you've got is the white Romney with a gray merino, and Melissa carded them together and they dated each other to sort of see if they like it or not. And what I didn't like about this one, the finished yarn is gorgeous, worth all the struggle in the world to get this yarn. The halo on it is beautiful. Look at that twist angle. Again, this could have probably taken a little tiny bit more twist. But again, the Romney in there, I didn't want to over twist it. So I think I overcompensated just a teensy tiny bit and under twisted it a little bit. This could have just been tightened up just ever so slightly. Like I'm talking like half a twist. I could even throw it back through the wheel and just sort of see. But like, if I show you, if it just got tightened up just a little bit, I don't know if you guys can see that. Just a little bit tighter, see? Just a little bit. I think it would have just, I would worry that this yarn would pill a little bit. This would be a great sweater yarn. It's very soft, beautiful heather. The heathering of the white and the gray is just beautiful. I don't usually love these yarns, but this worked really beautifully. You do need more twist. So I even wrote it in my notes. You need more twist because of the fineness of the merino. This one was the most surprising because it actually worked. That's what I wrote in my notes here. So very easy to spin. Oh, this one was the easiest. It was easy to spin. I have this mixed up with another one. I'm so sorry. It's hard when these samples, these speed dates, it's like, okay, which one was which? Because I remember having lots of opinions about it in the moment. But, you know, afterwards, you kind of forget. Oh, I know why I had them mixed up. This is Gamora. I'm sorry, you guys. If we could just take out the last 5 minutes of me chitter-chattering. This one is the alpaca. So they both worked. They were both really surprising in the fact that they both worked. The alpaca works with the Romney because it's long and it's silky and it's drapey and it creates this really long silky drapey yarn. And then the Romney, I knew it didn't feel right. I kept going like, the Romney was really surprising because it worked with the merino. So this was with the merino. This was Gomorrah. It was the brown. And what was really surprising about this one was that because of the different staple, I thought that I was going to have to like change my drafting length the whole time, but it must be a fairly decent stapled Romney. And it's not heathered at all. You completely lost the Romney in this. The brown merino just completely took over. And if you look really, really closely, you can see that there must be something else in there, but the the merino completely took over. So, yeah, this one was really surprising. It was easy to spin, and I didn't think it would work, and it worked. It was beautiful. Told you about the alpaca. It was a little bit hairier, a little bit more rustic, very soft, very easy to spin. And then Verily, this was the Shetland. This was the other one that I wasn't sure was going to work. And I don't love these really dark heathered yarns where you've got the white and the dark gray or the white and the black. I had said that about this one, the white with the Wensleydale BFL cross. This was the Bond speed date that I did a few weeks ago, about a month ago. I don't love these ones with the really dark and the white next to it, but it's okay. A little bit more rustic, good bulk. Took lots of twist, did very well. A little bit spongy compared to the alpaca. The alpaca is a little bit more drapey, not as spongy. This is a bit spongy. Yeah, good bulk. So, and you can see the progression of color of these three. So pretty, right? So, and everybody has their preferences. Like some people would love this brown. Some people would love this contrast of the dark and the light. And then the other one that I did is the Columbia. So this one was the most like a spongy fisherman sweater, tweedy, thinking cables. As a 3-ply, this would be incredible. So this one was the 50-50 Romney with a Columbia Rambouillet Corriedale cross from Susan Harwell in California. I love this yarn because it's spongy and bouncy and springy, and it screams sweater yarn, and it would be hard wearing because of the Romney in there and the Columbia. It's got great bulk. This was my favorite because of the type of stuff that I like to make. If I was spinning for weaving, my first choice would be the alpaca, the 50-50 Romney alpaca. This would be incredible for weaving. And if I wanted something really super soft and close to the skin, I wanted a cowl or a toque, I would go with the merino. Those were my favorites of this project. And now I have to be very careful what I say because Melissa's husband, Aaron, watches this. Hi, Aaron. And I'm going to say the same thing that I said about this one, and it bit me in the butt, but I stand by it. This was the other one that I did that was the with the Bond, and I said on the show that it would be truly to learn what you want to learn from these speed dates and from all of this sampling that I think most of us really love sampling when we're hand spinning and doing all of this stuff. And I was clearing off bobbins while I was doing this. You have to knit swatches. You've got to take it to the next step and knit swatches. So I'm going to give this back to Melissa. She will take photos, and then she's going to give it back to me, and I will knit swatches. Because I did it for this one, and now I feel like I have to do it for this one because it just takes your learning to the next level. So I cleared off all these bobbins. Oh, and with the speed dates, for those who are doing a lot of sampling and this really high volume sampling like this, each of these is about 15 grams, 12 to 18 grams. What I did this time around that I kind of learned from the last one is I spun all of these back to back to back on the wheel, and I put a really super brightly colored piece of fleece in between. It was roving from like a Corriedale. It was bright, bright, bright yellow, and I put that in between each, and then I wound center pull balls for each of them and I left it to rest on the bobbins for a couple of days because actually I just couldn't get to it. I normally wouldn't leave it for that long, but with this type of sampling, I'm not going to use this yarn in any project. I'm not particularly worried about the center pull ball and one singles being a little bit more twisted than the other one. I can compensate for that in the plying. It's just not a big deal. And it meant that I was spinning one right after the other, and I could reflect on each of them back to back to back. Whereas with this one, I did them separately, and it broke up the process, and I wasn't quite as able to compare them, because by the time I started spinning the next one, I'd forgotten about the other one because I was doing them all separately. So it was nice to spin the singles back to back to back to back and be able to reflect on them consecutively like that. The other stuff that I cleared off, I did a massive article for the very first issue of Ply magazine, of Weft magazine, not Ply, Weft, and in their plain weave issue, and it was on twist direction. So anybody who's seen that article and seen that issue, holy smokes, you guys, blood, sweat, and tears, let me tell you, that was a ton of sampling. And what I did was, it was on twist direction in our weaving. So S-spun, I'm not even gonna do the singles, I'm only gonna talk about the plied yarn. S-plied warp, Z-plied weft, and then vice versa. And then a combination of both in the warp and the weft. Twill and plain weave, because I was like, I'm doing all this sampling anyways. I'm going to take advantage of these warps, and I'm going to do twill as well. Anyways, I had a whole bunch of the singles left on the bobbin. So this is a 60% Romney, 40% C-cell blend that I used for that article, and this was the last of that yarn. So this was the final Z twist singles S-plied yarn. So sort of what I would call conventional. It has such a sheen to it. And if I didn't have, I think I have more Romney in my stash. And I'm very tempted to make more of this yarn. It is so soft and has such a beautiful sheen. And I have tons and tons of C-cell, which is a manufactured extruded fiber. And I'm really, really tempted to like spin more of it and weave a big thing, because a big stole out of this yarn, oh, it would be gorgeous. And the drape on those samples was incredible. Something in like a Bronson lace or a Huck, or like something lacy. I'm thinking like Swedish lace, something that would be like a big like stole that would just be drapey and luxurious. And so that was another bobbin. So that was 2 bobbins. And then I also cleared off these for Melissa. These were more samples. So this was Sommelier Guts 4 from May of 2025. And this was Gia Corriedale. It's from Observatory Hill Farms in Wisconsin with 15% Cashgora. I love this yarn. It almost is a bit tweedy from the Cashgora. It's very, very dark gray. It needed a lot of twist. It is bulky and spongy. This would be an awesome sweater yarn. You could do this as a 3-ply if you wanted to, and it would just spin up like, oh, it would be beautiful. Beautiful. So 15 grams of Cashgora with Corriedale, and the total sample, so that would have been, so if it's 15 grams, can somebody do the math for me? So if you have 115 grams of total weight for the bat, and it's 15 grams of Cashgora, what's the percentages? I think it's like, it's got to be like 15%, but it's probably just shy, like 12% maybe. So 115 gram bat with 15 grams of Cashgora. Can somebody do that for me? And then this one, I love this yarn. This yarn is going to be really interesting to see how it wears. I'm not sure that it's going to wear really super well. I don't think that this does not scream sweater yarn to me. This screams beautiful luxury shawl. This would be an incredible shawl, and it would be drapey, and it would have sheen to it. So this is Little Brown Teapot Bond. It's the sister sheep to the bond that I speed dated last month. From Tiny Lola in Australia, blended with 20% alpaca. from Sunkia Farm alpacas here in British Columbia, and then 5% golden muga silk. So if you can see in there the sheen from the silk and the alpaca, and bond sometimes does have a little bit of a sheen to it. This one here certainly does. This is a sister. Melissa couldn't remember if it was a sister or a mom or an aunt or something, but they're all related. So this is the white bond, and then this is another sheep, another bond from that same flock, blended with 5% muga. And it's amazing how little silk you need. It's only 5%, but it's enough. It's enough. And then 20% alpaca, which just gives it this lovely drape. But you can see the halo, probably from a little bit from the bond, a little bit from the alpaca. And again, this could take more twist if you were going to use it in something that you wanted to be a little bit more hard wearing, because this is going to pill a little bit. It's going to just rough up. It's going to get a bit fuzzy, not pilly, but fuzzy. So I would add more twist because of the fineness of the fibers. I should qualify that. Fineness of the fibers. This was a little bit hardier, a little bit more hard wearing, and that's why it screams cabled sweater yarn. Cabled sweater yarn. That's what I would do with this. And I would make it a 3-ply. Thank you. So this is 13% Cashgora. So for anybody who wants to make some of these blends themselves and wants to play around with what's in their stash, 13%. And you know, I think when you're talking about some of these add-ins like silk, Cashgora, cashmere, any of the camelids, alpaca, llama, camel, yak, kiviot, what else you guys? Angora, you don't need tons and tons. It doesn't need to be 20, 40%, 50%. It can be like 8%, 5%, 13%, 12%. It doesn't have to be a ton. Think of it as an eighth. Totally. Thank you, Rebecca. You're so good with math. I really need to do math. I'm so visual. I really need a pad and a paper, a piece of paper, a pen and a paper. What am I trying to say? Okay. So that is bobbin clearing. And I recently changed how I organize my spins and my sampling and whatnot, because I'm just going through so much stuff that I'm finding the index cards aren't working for me anymore. I just don't have a way of storing them. So I grabbed this book from, here in Canada, we've got a Canadian dollar store called Dollarama. It's from Quebec. And so what I've been doing is, like my weaving book, I've been cutting little spots and keeping washed finished samples of the yarn. I find that's actually more useful than the raw, than the singles or the unfinished yarn. And then I've been writing notes as I've been spinning. And what was so cool about these books, I don't know if it was a printing error, which is maybe why they were only a couple dollars. The lines are this way, which is perfect for what I'm doing, because it's like they're little index cards, but it's in a book. So this was some sampling that I was doing. This is all the finished speed dates from the bond experience. Isn't that cool? So it's been working really well for me. I'll report back. Sometimes my ideas don't pan out in the long run, but this one seems to be working. Because with my weaving book, for those who haven't seen this, my weaving book looks like this. So I keep my little samples here, and then I have my little woven swatches. This is the CVM. Little spoiler alert. This is the CVM woven with another fine wool, so that it's off my pin loom, but it's if you think of this as like a sample that came off of a loom, like a floor loom or a rigid heddle or something, or a table loom or something, think of this as warp is all CVM, and then the weft is pick for pick CVM and another yarn. So unfortunately it really blended in. I thought there would be more of a contrast, but there wasn't. But you can kind of get the idea. It's similar to the other sample that I did. I was trying to recreate this sample here. Sorry, we're going on a bit of a side quest here. It's similar, it's the exact same as this sample here. So the warp was all the white cormo, and then I did pick for pick another yarn. So I've been playing around with that color and weave idea that I had and thinking about a larger piece of fabric with that with that CVM. But with the CVM, I think I'm going to add like 5% muga. I think I'm just going to like add a little bit of something to it. So I've been trying to figure out what I've been doing. And then my This was my LB pullover, which is behind me. We'll chat about that at the end of the show if we have time. We're going to run out of time. We always run out of time. But this is a piece of the fabric after I cut into it. And I was doing some sampling with the serger just to get the tension correct. So that is that there as it falls over. Come on, stay put. So trying to figure out like the best way to organize my notes and keep myself organized with my ideas that I've got right now, because I do feel like I'm a little bit scatterbrained, and I've been trying to like figure out what the best way to approach all of this is. Nicole, bless you. I can admit when I'm wrong. I love that. I do get what you were saying though about the rigid heddle stuff. I totally get it. But thankfully there are other people that are putting out rigid heddle content like Yarn Worker. I'd highly recommend looking at her if you haven't yet. Okay, let's go on with joy and connection. This is my favorite one. This is the whole reason that I do what I do and why I have the podcast and why I have never been able to let go of it over the years. For those who have watched the whole back catalog of episodes, you will remember that there were years, months, episodes where I wasn't sure what I was going to do about the podcast, and I wasn't sure what the future looked like. And a lot of that was, you know, uncertainty with where the kids were at, uncertainty with my career, uncertainty with the podcast and YouTube and Patreon, and just trying to like navigate it all and being willing to be flexible and to pivot when I needed to. And the reason that I stay and doing all of this and year after year and really truly enjoying it is joy and connection. So the absolute best part of the tour and the aspect most of us look forward to the most is the community participation and community connection. All of a sudden, social media is taken over by beautiful bobbin and spindle shots of people's progress. We connect with one another over our spinning, handspun, and project ideas. It's as if it's all turbocharged during the tour. Finding joy in what we are making is the icing on top. It is the cherry on the cake. As you start spinning, if your project is bringing little to no joy, pivot. Pivot, you guys, pivot. Do not dig your heels in and be stubborn. Pivot. Find another project and get going right away. This is the time to play, to experiment, and to truly enjoy what you're working on. And I have to say, I recently had an experience, and it was a little bit of a coming to the light moment. I've been working on this cotton blend spin thing for quite a while now. I haven't talked about it on the podcast recently because it's been driving me absolutely bonkers. But I'm this close to putting it in the compost. And I would never have said that a couple of years ago. Even a year ago, I think I would have dug my heels in and I would have like kept on keeping on, but it is just not working. And I plied up a little bit of the yarn and I don't like the yarn, and it just doesn't matter what I do. It is not working. And I don't know what I'm going to do ultimately with it, but I have put it aside and I've put it away for now while I kind of mull it over. And it's been kind of a pain in my backside. And it's just, there's nothing about the project that I'm enjoying. So sometimes you just have to let it go. And there's other fleece, there is other sheep, there are other opportunities. The sheep, unfortunately, keep growing fleece, good or bad. And that's the way it goes. So don't feel like you have to dig in just because you've prepped something. So tell me what, yeah, exactly, Rebecca. It sounds like it's not worth your life minutes. I love that. Life minutes. I'm going to use that. Okay. So I wanted to share with you guys, so I did this, bond speed date for Melissa back in, I must have spun it in it was in April, but I think I spun it early May and I shared it on the podcast like the beginning of May. So it must have been like episode like 314-ish that I shared it, or maybe 313. And these were all the different blends. So there was the bond on its own, 100% bond. And then there was 50-50 bond Dorset, 50-50 bond Icelandic, Mike, 50-50 bond Wensleydale BFL Cross, and then a 50-50 alpaca bond. And this one was my absolute most favorite. The Dorset was my second favorite. And the bond on its own was my third favorite. These two were my least favorite. The Icelandic was my least favorite. It was my not so great one that I wasn't as keen on. And I actually wasn't as keen on this one more for the color. I didn't love the black and the white blended. And I really would like to see that black Wensleydale BFL cross just on its own. True black is really hard to find, and I think it would be beautiful. So I had made the mistake on the podcast. I say mistake with a big smile on my face because I'm totally just joking. But I had said on the podcast that I think, you really have to take this sampling to the next level. It's wonderful to make the yarn. You get a general sense of what the yarn is going to do, but you really don't know until you make it into fabric. That is the true test. So this is what I did yesterday during the birthday party. So starting at the bottom, starting at the bottom. Yeah, this is the bond on its own, knit into fabric. It is beautiful. This screams sweater yarn. This would be an unbelievable sweater yarn. You could make it as a 3-ply and it would be bouncy and springy. It would do cables and lace like no other. It would just be beautiful. This is the Icelandic knit up. You can see from the stitches, because of the thell in the Icelandic, it doesn't want to bend. That stiff outer coat just doesn't want to bend, and it doesn't want to go into those knit stitches particularly well. And of all of the pieces of fabric, it's the one that didn't kind of block out, oh, that'll block out. It didn't block out. This one didn't want to rest into the knit stitches particularly well, and it feels a bit coarse. A lot of people would not want this next to their skin. It does have a halo, and it would be great for an outerwear jacket or something, and like woven and then cut and sewn, but it would be outerwear, and it would be hard wearing. It would be great as an upholstery fabric, but it's not next to the skin soft. It's a little bit grumpy to work with. The next one was the most surprising. This was the Wensleydale BFL cross that was 50-50 with the Romney. Again, I don't love the blending and the heathering. It's not my favorite, but it was a great yarn. This would be an awesome outerwear, like cardigan for the winter, something hard wearing. It is next to the skin soft. Like I would definitely be able to wear this next to my skin. So like if something had a collar, it would be okay. You wouldn't have to wear a turtleneck, or at least maybe, most people wouldn't have to, maybe some would. It has a lovely halo. You can't see it, but it's got a lovely halo. And that's from the Romney and the BFL Wensleydale, all those little tips popping through. The nicest on this entire swatch, and it's not surprising, is the alpaca. The 50-50 alpaca, it knit up beautifully. It's sumptuous, it's smooth, it's lustrous, it drapes. It's got memory and bounce from the bond because the bond is so fine. It's got this beautiful crimp to it. It is awesome. And then the one that actually, I love it as fabric. I loved it in the yarn and I love it as fabric, but I think some people wouldn't love it and they would find it a bit crunchy and a little bit coarse, was the Dorset. It's a little tiny bit coarse. It's a little toothy, but fisherman's sweater with cables, outerwear with a long sleeve shirt underneath, this would be so warm. Same with the alpaca, it would be super warm. This would be a luxurious drapey cardigan, something with maybe yarn overs. It would drape and fall beautifully. You'd want to knit it a couple of inches shorter than what you want it to be finished as because it would grow a little bit. This one, fisherman's sweater, cables, something oversized and spongy and warm, but not necessarily next to your skin. Amazing. All from one base fleece. You can create all of this different stuff, which is incredible. The bond on its own is somewhere in between these two. So it's kind of like if you're trying to create a yarn that's like a catch-all, can do pretty much everything, it'll land somewhere between these two. This would be an awesome sweater yarn for the majority of patterns out there, for most like bang for your buck, if you will. This would create something really luxurious, and this would create something really hard wearing. This is why we have to make fabric from our yarns. I'll be waxing poetic about that until the day that we stop doing this. Okay, the last project, I'm going to leave this under spinning because it's actually technically skeined, but and a new topic, but I've been sharing finished yarn with you the entire time. This is my mushroom hunt from Bramble Ridge. The exact same thing that happened with Giddy Up and Funhouse happened with this. I had stored the singles on a weaving bobbin. So I had spun the braid end to end, and I had woven them off onto weaving bobbins to clear my spinning bobbins. And was it last week or the week before? I just got to the point where I was like, I just want to get this stuff plied. And I wound a center pull ball just like I did for Giddy Up and Funhouse. This is Hanui from New Zealand. And same as what happened with Giddy Up, and the colors matched up almost perfectly from that long, slow transition of color. I actually think this would be really pretty woven as a, that color and weave stuff that I was talking about, where you do pick for pick, the main color and the contrast color, because what you would end up with is these hits of orange that would run through the fabric, but next to a natural, where did my sample go? See, you guys, organized chaos. Yes, anybody else? Is this what you guys are living in right now? Please, somebody say yes. Here it is. So this is the CVM that I've been working on. And then you see how like there would be areas that it would blend in together, where the CVM and the mushroom hunt wouldn't be very high contrast, but then you would have areas where it would be really high contrast, and it would create like just a really, really pretty fabric. So something like this would work, or Giddy Up would work. I want something fine with the CVM because this is really bouncy and springy. It takes a lot of twist. And this is similar enough that they would probably work together really quite well. But like I had that sampling done in my book there, the little pin loom sample that was done with this, I have to do a little bit more sampling. Everybody's saying yes. Thank you, you guys. Thank you for the validation. Lisa says no, not at all. My chaos is not organized. I hear you. I'm trying to organize it. Oh yeah, Eve, it was so like, well, I kind of volunteered myself. Aaron didn't volunteer me. I volunteered myself, and then he reported back to Melissa. So, and he was like, hey, you know, Rachel had this great idea. And then Melissa was like, do you want the yarn back so that you can knit the swatches? I was like, you know what? I think that's a great idea. So it was kind of like one of those funny things. The thing is that knitting these like swatches and weaving these little swatches and doing all this sampling, it is time consuming, you guys. Like, be careful what you sign on for when you're doing some of this stuff. It takes a long time. This took 2 hours to do, 2 and a bit hours. Like, it's not fast. Because you have to put the skein on the umbrella swift, and then you knit off the umbrella swift, and then you retie the skein, and then you got to knit the thing, and then and then you go on to the next one. Like, it's time consuming. It just is. And I really enjoy doing it, and I love doing this kind of stuff. Like, I get a very strong sense of accomplishment when I do stuff like this, but it takes time. And yesterday was the perfect opportunity to do it, which is why I pulled it out and did it. But you just have to set aside the time. Yeah, Eve, it was the Shetland cotton that I'm having problems with. Yeah. Okay, last thing, and then we're going to say goodbye because poor Nora is all by herself. So let's talk about weaving. Okay. I had woven up, I had put on the loom, my big one, my Leclerc Jack. I had put on the loom a big white dummy warp to go so that I had something to tie on to for my LB pullover, which is in the background here, which is in process. I'm working on it. And this is all the fabric that I wove for that. This is what's left from cutting out. And I'm not going to talk about it today because it's quite extensive to talk about, and my serger seized, so I'm waiting to get it in for servicing. So everything with it is just kind of on hold a little bit. I'm going to do the hemming of the cuffs and the lower hem at some point over the next week or so, and then I'll do all the finishing work in the summer. But I had put on a long enough warp that if I wanted to, I could pull off a couple of really big tea towels. And I got them hemmed up this past weekend. So they're just 2-2 twill. The whole thing was warped as 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. So it's just like plain 2-2 twill. There's a couple of there's actually, unfortunately, there's 2 errors in my in the weaving, which is kind of unfortunate. This one doesn't have any errors. This one worked out really well. So it's just color blocked. So that's it here, and they're quite large. They're quite big. And I was having problems with the selvages through most of both of them, and I think it's because of the dummy warp. It was coming off the end at the back, which I don't love. It just, something about that warp when I put it on, there's something not right about it. And so it's still, a little bit of it is left on the loom. I cut these off when I finished them. They're about 33 inches long, these, so 10 inches, 10 inches. Each color was 10 inches, and then the hems were 1.5 inches each to fold them into thirds and sew them to finish them. There's something about the tension on it that wasn't quite right, so I have to look at that. And then this was the other one, and actually this one is, if you look here, Vancouver Rise FC is the new Northern Super League Women's Soccer League for Canada. There are 6 teams, and Vancouver is our local team. We have seasons tickets for it. And if you look at the colors, I didn't do the black, but if you look at the colors, I mimicked them. That's how nerdy I am. I mimicked them. So it's the Vancouver Rise. I'm calling this my Vancouver Rise towel. So, and I did make one treadling error. It's just the one. It's kind of too bad. I could fix it. Actually, I don't think I could fix it. I'd have to, I'm not sure what I would do. Yeah, it's just too bad. Just the one. So I'll have to hang it like this. And then nobody will know. And again, this one's the same size as the other one. It's quite large. And those are the colors of Vancouver Rise. So yeah, I was happy with how they turned out. I'm just going to put them in our like collection of tea towels. I might give this one to a friend of mine because the pink and the navy blue, I was kind of thinking about her while I was weaving. And navy blue, I love navy blue and bright pink. It was one of Nora, they were colors, these 2 colors were colors that have always looked awesome on Nora. And I would often like pick stuff for her when she was a baby that was those 2, the navy blue and the pink. So that's why I picked them. And then she picked the teal for in between. Yeah, and it just kind of works. So anyhow, I might pass that one on to a friend, but this one I'll keep because it's my Vancouver Rise. My Vancouver Rise towels. The nice thing is too, it's nice and big. It'll be really functional in the kitchen. I'm always really leery to make tea towels too small. There's a lot of patterns out there for tea towels that are quite small. And they're great for fingertip towels, but for really using them in the kitchen, they're a bit small. So I do tend to make them quite big. Yeah. Yeah, totally, Pauline. Absolutely. Okay, I was going to try to get to community participation today, but we've had, it's been a big show, and we had a big day yesterday, and I may just have to try to record it separately one day and upload it separately, because I know it's such a great portion of the show, and we just never get to it anymore, and it's just because the show just gets longer and longer and longer. So I need to figure out how we're going to do that going forward, but one day at a time, you guys, one day at a time. I hope that you got something out of the Tour de Fleece chatter. Also this coming weekend, and it's in the Patreon post for spinning pearls this month. So that's the teaching content that you get access to when you join the Patreon. Spinning luxury and spinning dyed and dyeing fibers. That post has all of the information in it about I'm just going to find it here and post it in the chat for those who missed it. Let me just find it. That has all of the information in it about Tour de Fleece, and also really super important, spindle spun season. So spindle spun season is starting on Saturday, and I talked about it a little bit in the housekeeping post, but it's celebrating spindles through the summer months and through the winter months, if you're in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere, and we pull out our spindles and spin on our spindles for a few months, a few months, through the entire summer and through the entire winter if you're in the southern hemisphere. So that is coming up. That's like, I don't know, it's not cast on, but like the start, if you will, is on Saturday. So yeah, if you guys have your spindles out and are getting ready and getting started with that, you can use the hashtag, where is it? Hashtag, where did it go? I wonder if I archived the channel by accident. No, spindles. Yeah, hashtag spindles. We changed the name. I was like, I know we changed it. I know it's here. Hashtag spindles is the channel on Slack to use. Twist on. Yeah, Christine. Something. Twist on. I changed spindle spun season. I changed it in the Slack channel to just hashtag spindles. There is no hashtag spindle spun season anymore. I can change it back if you guys want me to, but I haven't. Yeah, it used to be spindle spun season. Yeah, thanks, Rebecca. Super helpful, you guys. So I think that's it for today. Have a wonderful couple of weeks. We will be back here next Tuesday, same time, 11 a.m. Pacific, for Rebecca for the Wool Circle. She's got some fun stuff planned, and I will be streaming that for her on Tuesday because they are traveling. And then we will have, the next live stream will be, it's going to be July the 1st. That's Canada Day here. It's a holiday. It's right in the middle of the week, which is kind of too bad. So July the 1st is Canada Day. And that's the Tuesday. That's when we would normally do the live stream. So I will talk to Rebecca. We may shift things forward by 1 week for the month, but I also don't want to affect her in traveling and the Wool Circle. So we will keep you posted whether we have a show on the 1st or the 8th. But there will definitely be some sort of a show of some kind on the 8th for sure. So we will figure that out. In the meantime, I hope you guys have a wonderful couple of weeks. Please join us for the Wool Circle if it is something that you are interested in. There is a 7-day trial. We would love to welcome you while you watch a couple of back episodes for that week and get a sense of what the show is all about. And Rebecca would love to welcome you as well. Have a great couple of weeks. All the making, make all the things. I never told you guys about my Jacob and what I've got prepped and the bats. So before we sign off, this is the first one. I've only put it through the carder once. So I lock popped all the locks and I carded up mini bats yesterday during our Zoom meeting, our Zoom party. And this is the first bat. It is 154 grams. It is massive and it's so big and floofy. It's huge. So this is off my motorized carder. So that's what I am prepping for Tour de Fleece. And we will talk more about this next show because I have 2 of these and that is what I'm going to be spinning. It is massive. Rebecca, I can't wait when hopefully you'll be coming in at the end of September and you'll be here and you'll be able to see the mammothnesss. That's not even a word. I've made up a word. That is my carder. It is nuts. So without further ado, have a wonderful couple of weeks, you guys. And we will see you all back here, same time, same place next week. Happy spinning, everyone.